Welcome to my Fabled Neeko guide. This is one of the easier comps to play in the game right now, and a great one to pick up if you're newer to the game. In this video, I'll be going over the build, what items you make, how to play the early, mid, and late game, and then we finish off going over some in-depth positioning tips. The build is very linear, and this is going to be your level 7 board without any chosens. The game plan with this comp is to stabilize at level 7 with this board, and then slow roll for 3-star Neeko and 3-star Nautilus. What your level 8 board will be is based on what chosen you find. If you get a Vanguard chosen, you go for 6 Vanguards. If you get a Mystic chosen, you go for 4 Mystics. And if you get a Fabled chosen, you can consider taking out Cho'Gath for 6 Vanguards, or you can run a second Cho'Gath on your board. So the best chosens are any Vanguard that is not Wukong or Garen, any Mystic, or any Fabled. Some chosens that are okay, but not preferred, are Brawler Cho'Gath, Adept Shen, and Spirit Yuumi. You will rarely make it to level 9 with this comp due to the slow rolling at level 7, but if you do, you either add in any legendary or you try to fit in 6 Vanguards or 4 Mystic most of the time. Neeko is our primary carry, so we prioritize making items for her first. She has one core item, and that is either Death Cap or Jeweled Gauntlet. Jeweled Gauntlet is a lot easier to hit in most games due to it needing 2 different components, as opposed to Death Cap that needs 2 rods. If you can make both of them, that's great. The second item wants to be a damage item, which can be either IE if you already have Jeweled Gauntlet, Haj, Sojin, or another Death Cap or Jeweled Gauntlet also works. The third item wants to be another offensive item or a defensive item. The best defensive items for Neeko is Gunblade or GA. Trapclaw and QSS can work, but they're not as great as the other two. After that, you want to make either Sunfire or Morello. Sunfire wants to go in Nautilus or Shen, while Morello wants to go in Sejuani or Cho'Gath. These items are great in this comp as the fights last very long, so you're getting great value out of the burn. Next we make items for Nautilus. As long as you're 3-starring him, you put items on him. Some of the better ones are Titan's Resolve, Dragon's Claw, Ionic Spark, Bramble Vest, or Warmogs. If you get a Spatula, the best item you can make is Vanguard Spad. This wants to go in Neeko as it is the best defensive item you can put on her, but it can also work on either Cho'Gath or Shen as well. The carousel priority for this comp is Rod, Glove, Chain, then Sword. I've made an early game guide where I go more in depth on how to play the early game, but I will cover it here shortly. With this comp we prefer to have a Vanguard opener, but other openers can also work. The strongest opener that transitions well into Neeko is 4 Vanguards. This frontline is insanely strong in the early game, as most of the damage is AD. You also look to add a backline carry in at level 5. Some other strong openers are 2 Assassin with Diana carry. Here the frontline is preferably 2 Vanguards, but other frontlines can also work. 2 Sharpshooters with Teemo carry, 2 Vanguard frontline is preferred again. Zed carry with any frontline, but Vanguards are again preferred. Once you've found your comp, you need to make items. As a general rule, you always make an item if you have 4 or more components. Some items that are great to slam and that transition well into Neeko are Jeweled Gauntlet, Death Cap, Sunfire, Bramble Vest, Chalice, Dragon's Claw, Haj, and Zz'Rot. During the early game, we want to try and play for strongest board, more often than playing for a loss streak. This is because we need enough HP to slow roll at level 7 to hit both Neeko 3-star and Nautilus 3-star. So if we take too much damage during the early game, that game plan might be a lot harder. At the Krugs round, you should have more direction towards the comp. The general requirements to play Fabled Neeko is to have at least 1 item for Neeko or Sunfire Cape. You should also have a couple of the Vanguards here as well. During the mid game, you always want to hold Aatrox, Sejuani, Cho'Gath, Neeko, and Nautilus if you're not playing them. And you hold the other units as well as long as you don't lose eco for them. If you lost streaked in the early game and you're weak, typically around 70 to 60 HP, then you want to roll a little bit at level 6 to stabilize. This is to stop the bleeding, as we don't want to be in a spot where we have to all in at level 7, as it's very hard to hit our 3-stars this way. Some good mid-game boards to stabilize with are 4 Vanguards with Neeko as your carry. If you find an early Cho'Gath, definitely fit him in as well. 2 Assassins with a Kali carry, frontline is preferably Vanguards. Kindred carry. Here the frontline can be anything, but is preferably Vanguards. During the mid game, we always want to scout. We're looking at the other players to see what units they have, what items they have, what synergies they have, and also what comp they're going. This is so that we can optimize our late game build. If the comp is mostly AD, then we want to go for 6 Vanguards late game, and maybe even drop Mystics for it. And if the lobby is mostly AP, then we definitely want to fit in 4 Mystics, even if we have to drop down to 2 Vanguards in some cases. In addition, we need to be uncontested to play this comp, so if you see another person playing for it, consider pivoting to another comp like Kayle or Aesol carry with either 6 Elder or 6 Dragon Soul. If you want to learn more about how to play the mid game, check out my mid game guide where I go more in depth on the subject. At stage 4-1, you want to level to 7. Here, you roll down until you hit Neeko 2-star. Once you hit, you eco back up to 50 gold and start slow rolling for Neeko 3-star and Nautilus 3-star. Sometimes if you're really healthy and or the lobby is weak, then you might not need to roll down, and you can just slow roll at 4-1 instead. While slow rolling, you also want to sell your chosen and look for a new one if your current one is not relevant to your late game comp. If you are contested, you will not be able to hit your 3-stars most of the time, so in that case you roll for your board on 4-1. Then you eco back up and try to push for level 8 or 9. Neeko 2-star falls off around stage 5 when people are getting their forecast carries 2-starred. So we need to put in a secondary carry like Set, Yone or Lee Sin to keep up with the other players at that stage. But if you're uncontested, you slow roll until you hit Neeko 3-star. Nautilus 3-star is really good, but not essential to the comp. Once you hit, go to level 8 or 9 depending on your HP, and then look to put in either 6 Vanguards, 4 Mystics, another 2-star Cho'Gath, or a legendary second carry. First, we will go over general positioning with this comp, then we will go over some more in-depth examples. General positioning looks like this. Here we got Neeko in the corner to stay safe, while also being farthest away from Yuumi after she casts on one of the Vanguards. Sejuani is on the second hex to the either right or left side, so that she can stun the backline carries in the corners. Aatrox is next to Sejuani so that the units that he pulls in get stunned by the Sejuani ult. Making sure that Aatrox casts is also crucial to this comp, as you want to get as much value as possible out of the Neeko ult. Cho'Gath is not on the outskirts, this is to make sure he casts his spell at least once. Braum and Nautilus are on the outskirts, as their spells are not crucial, so they can take most of the damage from the enemy carries right away. Moving on to some in-depth positioning examples. Against the first guy, the big threats are Talon and Aatrox. We put Nautilus in the back so he CCs the Talon. Cho'Gath is on the far right side so that Irelia doesn't disarm multiple people. Sejuani is in the middle so she might hit Talon with her CC. Neeko is on second row so she might not get pulled in by Aatrox. This is a bit of RNG as she needs Yuumi to dash and land on the hex behind her. Against the second guy, the big threat is Kayle, Lee Sin, and Aatrox. Our Aatrox is on the far right side to pull in the enemy Kayle. Sejuani is closer to the middle so she stuns the entire team after Aatrox has pulled in. Nautilus is in the middle so he has the chance to stun Aatrox or Lee Sin. Delaying these ultimates is crucial as they counter our team hard. Braum is on the left side as Kayle will waste AoE damage on him, and Irelia will not be disarming multiple people. Against the third guy, the big threats are Aesol and Aatrox. Cho'Gath and Braum are on the right side so that the enemy Braum attacks them. This way, we're making sure Aesol doesn't hit Neeko, and the enemy Aatrox might pull in them instead of Neeko. Nautilus is in the middle, hoping that he stuns the Aatrox to delay the pulling process. Sejuani is on the left side, so she stuns most of the enemy team. Although Aesol has QSS, it will get stunned off the second cast. Aatrox is on left side to pull in TF to make sure Neeko doesn't troll with her ultimate. Against the fourth guy, the big threat is Kalista and Aatrox. Braum is farthest away from Aatrox, so he gets pulled in by the Blitzcook. Yuumi is in the middle back so that Pyke doesn't stun the Neeko. Nautilus is on the right side to stun the Aatrox. Our Aatrox is in the middle to pull in Kalista. Sejuani is in the middle to stun the most amount of people possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what video you want me to make next, and if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 1,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.